Hey everyone, welcome back. It's great to be diving into this with you today. You sent over this super interesting transcript, actually,
Oh,
of
yeah.
a YouTube video about the 7 habits of highly effective people.
Right.
And well, it seems like we're on a mission to unpack these habits and really see what makes them tick. Right?
Yeah, definitely. And you picked a great source for it, too.
Oh, good.
It kind of jumps right in, talking about this historical shift from character ethic to personality ethic, and it really got me thinking.
Okay, so let's unpack that a little bit.
Okay.
What exactly is the difference? I mean, I think I have an idea, but I'd love to hear you lay it out.
Yeah, so for like over a century, success was all about your character thinking, integrity, humility, service, those inner qualities, right? But more recently, it's become more about, outward appearances, skills, almost like a polished facade instead of the real deal.
So it's less about being effective and more about appearing effective.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a little disheartening, honestly.
Yeah, it kind of is. And that's where these 7 habits come in, I think. They sort of bring us back to the core, to building that solid foundation of character for genuine effectiveness, not just the appearance of it.
And that leads us right into habit 1, be proactive,
Yes.
which it's more than just being busy, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's about taking charge and making things happen.
It really is about acknowledging we're not just leaves blowing in the wind,
Yeah.
We have the power to choose how we respond to whatever life throws our way. Remember that story from the video?
Which one?
About the man at the hospital after his wife passed.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Where the speaker initially thought that he was being insensitive,
Yes.
and then it turned out that he had already grieved and was just trying to be strong for his kids.
Exactly. And that just shows it wasn't about the event itself, but how he chose to respond to it, and that's huge.
It is huge. It makes you realize how much power we actually have in those moments, to choose our response even when things are so hard.
Exactly. And that choice right there is the difference between being proactive and being reactive. It's about being the author of our own lives.
I love that.
Right.
And I feel like once we're ready to actually write our own story, that's where habit 2 comes in. Begin with the end in mind.
Yes.
I love this idea of visualizing, like, okay, where do I want to go? What do I want to do? If you could just imagine your ideal future, what would it look like?
Yeah, it's such a powerful question because if you don't know where you're headed, how are you going to know which path to take, right?
Yeah.
Habit 2 really challenges us to create that personal mission statement, like a guiding document for our lives.
It's like setting the coordinates for your own personal GPS, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Making sure your actions are aligned with where you actually want to go.
Exactly. It's about being intentional with our choices, big or small.
Which brings us to habit 3, put first things first.
Yes.
Because it is so easy to get caught up in just the day-to-day whirlwind of things,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, absolutely. And this habit really is about aligning those actions with our priorities. Making sure we're actually making time for what truly matters most. There's this great quote actually in the video. It says, leadership is about deciding what's important and having the courage to say no to things that are not.
Wow.
Right.
That's a powerful statement. And we talk a lot about time management these days, but
Yeah.
this feels more like managing ourselves in relation to the clock, right? Like, we can't control time, but we can control how we use it.
100%. You've hit the nail on the head because it's not just about getting things done.
Right.
It's about getting the right things done. And sometimes that means having those difficult conversations and setting boundaries and really sticking to them.
It makes you think, if these first 3 habits are about mastering our own inner world in a way, are we ready to start tackling the outside world?
It's like we build that strong inner foundation with the first 3 habits.
Yeah.
And now we can actually start building bridges to other people.
Yeah.
That's where those public victories come in.
Okay.
And that's where habit 4 takes center stage. Think win-win.
Okay, so we're done working on ourselves and now we're ready to win,
Right.
but together this time.
Yes.
So it's not about being competitive in our relationships.
No, not at all. It's about shifting that mindset from that scarcity mindset of there's not enough to go around to there's plenty for everyone. It's about believing that collaboration,
Okay.
not competition,
Yeah.
is the key to success.
Yeah. I can see how that would really change the dynamic of a relationship.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's with a colleague, a family member,
Right.
or even in a negotiation.
Right.
Absolutely. It's about finding solutions where everyone benefits.
Exactly. It's like moving from that scarcity mentality to an abundance mentality, you know?
Yeah.
Instead of seeing every interaction as like a zero-sum game, you're looking for ways to create value for everyone involved.
Which makes me think about habit 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood.
Yes.
This one always feels so like crucial, but so easy to forget
Oh, if so.
when you're actually in the heat of the moment.
Especially in the heat of the moment, because it's that habit that often requires the most like conscious effort from us, because we're naturally inclined to jump right in with our own thoughts and opinions first.
Well, for sure.
But habit 5 really encourages us to hit that pause button for a second and genuinely listen to the other person first and try to see the world through their eyes. You know, really try to understand where they're coming from.
It's about putting our own agenda aside,
Yeah.
at least for a moment, and really trying to grasp, like, what are they thinking? How are they feeling?
Yeah.
What's going on over there for them?
Yeah, and it reminds me of that anecdote, I think it was in the YouTube video,
Which one?
about the real estate deal,
Oh, right.
where he was about to lose this huge deal because he was so focused on pushing his own agenda. And then he finally stopped and listened, really listened to the client, and ended up saving the deal.
And it's so fascinating because he didn't just passively listen. He actively tried to understand the other person's needs and concerns.
100%. He asked clarifying questions. He reflected back what he heard. He really stepped into the other person's shoes.
Yeah.
And by doing that, he was able to find a solution that actually worked for everybody.
Wow. It sounds like seeking to understand is almost like the bridge, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Between potential conflict and actually finding common ground.
Exactly. And that bridge leads us right into habit 6, synergize.
Okay.
Because when people truly feel understood, that's when the magic really happens.
It's that beautiful moment when 1 + 1 = 3, right?
Yes, exactly. It's like the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
And it's about recognizing that everyone brings their own like unique perspective
Right.
and experiences to the table. And when you combine those different viewpoints, you can create these incredibly innovative and effective solutions that you never could have come up with on your own.
Yeah, and I love how they use the example of choosing a vacation destination.
Yes.
Because it's so relatable, right?
It is.
Like, instead of compromising on a place that no one really wants to go to,
Right.
synergizing would be finding that third alternative that everyone's actually excited about.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
about tapping into that collective creativity and finding a solution that wouldn't have been possible without everyone's input and understanding.
So we've talked about shifting from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset, about seeking to understand before being understood, and then about the power of synergy. And these habits really seem to build on each other in a way,
Yeah.
to create a ripple effect in our relationships.
You hit the nail on the head. They really do. They create this like virtuous cycle leading to deeper connections, more effective collaboration,
Yeah.
and ultimately greater success in all areas of our lives. But it makes you wonder, what happens when that saw that we've been using this whole time starts to get dull?
That's a great point. We've been so focused on being proactive, on building these relationships, on achieving those public victories.
Right.
But what about taking care of ourselves?
Exactly. It's like running a marathon without ever stopping to hydrate, you know? You might be able to keep going for a while, but eventually you're going to hit a wall.
Which brings us to habit 7.
You got it.
Habit 7, sharpen the saw. I love that imagery.
Oh, it's such a good one.
It's such a powerful metaphor for self-care and renewal.
It really is. Like the idea that we need to take time to actually sharpen our own tools,
Right.
you know, our physical, mental, spiritual, and social selves in order to be effective in all areas of our lives, not just one.
It's so easy to feel guilty about that, though.
Right.
Taking time for ourselves.
Yeah,
Like,
it's-
oh, is that selfish? Is that unproductive?
Yeah.
But this habit's saying, no, it's essential.
It is. It is.
Not just for our well-being,
Right.
but to be good at all the things we're trying to be good at.
It reminds me of that story in the YouTube video
Which one?
about the man trying to saw down the tree with a dull saw.
Oh, yeah.
And he's working so hard, but he's not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't taken the time to sharpen the saw.
It's like trying to run a marathon without ever stopping to hydrate or refuel, you know?
Exactly.
You might be able to keep going for a while,
Yeah.
but you are gonna hit a wall.
You are. And the consequences of neglecting to sharpen the saw, they go way beyond just our own personal well-being.
Yeah.
It can impact like our relationships, our work,
Totally.
our ability to actually contribute to the world around us.
Yeah, when you put it that way, it makes self-care feel less like a luxury and more like a responsibility.
Right.
It's about showing up as our best selves for ourselves and for everyone around us.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing is,
Yeah.
sharpening the saw doesn't have to be this big time-consuming thing, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
It's about finding those small ways to invest in ourselves
Yeah.
consistently. You know, whether it's taking a walk in nature, reading a good book, spending time with our family, or even just taking a few minutes to like breathe deeply and quiet our minds for a minute.
Just that little reset.
Exactly.
It's like making those small deposits into our own personal well-being accounts, you know?
Yeah.
So we actually have the energy and the resilience to face whatever challenges come our way.
You got it. And when we do that, it creates a ripple effect
It does.
that extends outward, impacting all areas of our lives in a positive way.
This has been incredible.
It has. It's been great.
Going through these 7 habits,
Yeah.
we've explored the importance of character, of vision, of prioritizing our time, building those win-win relationships, seeking to understand, synergizing,
Right.
and ultimately taking care of ourselves in the process.
Yeah, it's a really powerful framework for personal and interpersonal effectiveness. You know? And what I find so inspiring is that these habits aren't just like concepts to be understood.
Right.
They're principles to be lived.
Yes.
They're choices that we can make every single day
Yeah.
to create that more fulfilling and impactful life. You know?
And this source material really emphasized that
Oh, yeah?
it's not enough to just know these habits. We
Right.
have to actually put them into practice. Like, we have to use them.
Exactly. And the more we practice these habits, the more natural they become. Until they're not even habits anymore, they're just who we are, you know?
And it makes you think about the potential there.
Right.
If more and more people started embracing these habits, like, imagine the positive impact it could have on families, workplaces, even entire communities.
Now, that's a thought to leave you with.
Right.
If these 7 habits can transform individuals, just imagine what they could do for the world.
It's amazing.
Right.
Well, thank you so much for taking this deep dive with us, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time when we uncover even more insights from, well, the world of information out there.
See you next time.